Hello everyone, my name is Erudite Prof and today I bring to you 10 most commonly mispronounced words in Nigeria. So let's learn together. 10 most commonly mispronounced words in Nigeria. Okay, number one is, how do you pronounce this word? Do you pronounce it as amoeba or amoeba? Okay, now let's look at the transcription. You can see that according to the transcription, the word is actually pronounced as amoeba. Okay, amoeba. That's the pronunciation of that word. So Nigerians used to pronounce this word as amoeba. Okay, which is very funny. That word is actually pronounced amoeba and not amoeba. Okay, so number two is, how do you pronounce this word? Do you pronounce it as colonel or colonel? Look at the transcription. This word is actually pronounced colonel. Okay, it's pronounced as colonel, not colonel. What's the meaning of that word? A colonel is a commissioned officer in the military organization. Okay, now number three, we have the word. How do you pronounce this word? Do you pronounce it as hyperbole or hyperbole? Now let's look at the transcription. According to the transcription, this word is pronounced as hyperbole and not hyperbole. So many English and literature teachers are guilty of this offense. I was once guilty of this offense because at the time I was actually teaching literature using this figure of speech, and I was pronouncing the word as hyperbole. But thank God I've learned how to pronounce it. The word is actually hyperbole and not hyperbole. The letter E is actually not silent. The letter E is producing a sound, and which is the A sound. Okay, so it is pronounced as hyperbole and not hyperbole. Okay, now number four is, okay, how do you pronounce this word? Do you pronounce it as epitome or epitome? Now let's look at the transcription. This is the transcription. According to the transcription, the word is actually pronounced as epitome and not epitome. Epitome and not epitome. Just like you can use the word in an example, you can say he is an epitome of beauty. Okay, not he is an epitome of beauty. All right, so the word is actually pronounced as epitome and not epitome. Okay, now number five, we have the word. How do you pronounce this word? Do you pronounce this as fuel or fuel? How do you pronounce it? Now let's look at the transcription. This is the transcription. Now, according to this transcription, this word is actually pronounced as fuel. Fuel and not fuel. I want to buy fuel. No, it is not fuel. It is fuel. Okay. Now, number six is, how do you pronounce this word? So many Nigerians are guilty of this one. Although, a lot of persons are already getting the pronunciation right. So do you pronounce this as Google or Google? Okay, now let's look at the transcription. According to the transcription, this word is actually pronounced as Google and not Google. Okay, it is pronounced as Google and not Google. All right, now let's look at number seven. Now, this is number seven. How do you pronounce this word? How do you pronounce it? Do you pronounce it as gigantic or gigantic? Now let's look at the transcription. This is the transcription. According to the transcription, this word is actually pronounced as gigantic and not gigantic. He's not a gigantic human, he's a gigantic human. Okay, so now let's go to number 8. So, how do you pronounce this word? You pronounce this as stipend or stipend. Let's look at the transcription. This is the transcription. So according to the transcription, this word is actually pronounced as stipend. Stipend and not stipend. Okay. What's the meaning of stipend? A stipend is a regular fixed amount of money paid to a laborer that is relatively small. Okay. So that's the meaning of stipend. Now, how do you pronounce? You pronounce it as verbatim or verbatim. Okay, now let's look at the transcription. This is the transcription. Now, according to the transcription, this word is actually pronounced as verbatim and not verbatim. What's the meaning of verbatim? It means word for word copying. When you copy someone word for word, it is regarded as verbatim. Okay, now the last one is, how do you pronounce this word? You pronounce it as sachet or sachet. Okay, now let's look at the transcription. This is the transcription. Now, according to this transcription, this word is actually pronounced as sachet and not sachet. So next time when you want to buy water, you say, I want to buy a sachet of water and not a sachet of water. The word is actually pronounced as sachet. Okay, I hope you've learned something today. Bye.